Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. Fernando?
Hey, welcome to the show.
Good enough for me. Today we have a Chevy pickup truck. Yay! And what is it getting? Well, it's in for one of the problems that, well, most of the Chevys show up for. It has no sound. It's got to be something simple, right? I mean, it worked this morning. Isn't that what he said?
It's gotta be a wire, something loose.
Something's loose. Let's hop in. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So thank God Chevrolet hasn't figured out how to make good speakers because, well, they just fall apart. It's really funny. You could leave in the morning to go to work or the office or whatever it is, you have sound. Come out that night, you got no sound. And you're like, why? What happened? We got noise, and that's coming out of the rear speakers only. These guys, there's nothing coming out of those. Here's where it gets real fun. The radio's on. So I have no way to go in and check my balance and fader or anything like that. It's just, it's dead. And it's making a weird noise coming out of the dash. It's coming out of the glove box. Sounds like the air conditioner, but the air conditioner is not. Either way, in this car we got a couple problems that are happening. One, we have no sound coming out of the front doors. And two, the display on the radio no longer works. What to do? Well, the easiest solution, go ahead and replace the front speakers and replace the radio. But what if it's the radio that's bad and not the speakers? Well, fortunately, we've done enough of these to know that the speakers are bad, but what if you haven't and you don't know? The simplest thing to do first would be start with the biggest problem. In this case, the radio. The display is dead. There is no display fuse, so it's just a dead circuit board. So it's not like on the back of the radio there's like 6 fuses, accessory, constant 12 volts, illumination, stuff like that. It's not there. That means we're gonna pull the radio out first and see if in fact the speakers are blown, because there could be something severely wrong with the radio, and that would be the simplest place to start. I'm gonna pop the radio out and we'll show you what to do next. Now, in case you have this vehicle, let me show you how to get this radio out. Put your steering wheel down, put your keys in the ignition, put your gear all the way down. Make sure your airbag is off. Start over here on the driver's side, grab the dash up here at the top, and then work your way around, going very slowly, because my guess, just like your dash, is cracked, just like this one. Work your way up underneath, wiggle it a little bit, and lift it up just like this. There's 3 7mm screws holding the radio in place. Pull those and the radio will come right out. Unplug the radio once you have it unscrewed. The next step is to actually test the sound of the speakers. If you have an aftermarket harness that you can plug in, that makes things so much easier. In this case, it's a GM. GM in this particular vehicle has used the same color wires for a very long period of time. We know that driver's door is going to be tan and gray. The rear is going to be brown and yellow. This is going to be dark blue and light blue, and this is going to be green and dark green. What we want to do is take a tone generator, this guy right here, go to our pairs and see if we get tones on the front speakers. And we get no sound coming out of that one. That would be the rear. We get no sound out of the greens, but we get the rears. So just like the radio was playing just the rears, they tone just the rears. Now there was one other thing in this car. Okay, if you have this car and it has manual windows, you're not gonna have the premium amplifier in it. However, some of you are gonna have the premium amplifier in it, and obviously you're gonna have power windows, and there'll be a tweeter located right here. If you have that vehicle, behind the glove box right here is going to be an amplifier that you can check as well. Now that we know that the speakers are blown, the radio's garbage, it's time to figure out what we want to do. There's a couple websites where you can check to figure out what size speakers you have. Pioneer has one. You can type in your make, model, and year, and it'll tell you what size speakers you can use to put in your car. Crutchfield already has one. Crutchfield is going to tell you can't put a double din in here. Guess what? They're going to be wrong. You can. There's no GM. You can't. I mean, really? Okay. This calls for 6.5s in the front door and 4x6s in the rear door. Let's see what Paul has sold him. For the rear door, we have a set of Kicker KSC 460 4x6s, and for the front door, we have a set of KSC S650 6.5. So we have 2 sets of kickers to go in there. We've also gone to the website pack-audio.com and found out we're going to need a 422 kit. which is gonna give us the double DIN. We have two different USB adapters that we're gonna put in depending on which one we feel works better. He leaves it up to us. If we're gonna drill a hole, we're gonna use the USB DMA1. If we're gonna replace a cigarette lighter, we're gonna use the USB aux 3. I can tell you right now, we're not gonna be using this one because we are gonna be drilling a hole. We're gonna be using this guy here. We have an antenna adapter, which is a GM4, and then we have the smart harness that we're gonna be using, which is the low cost or LCGM24. The reason why we need this is this requires a smart harness, meaning behind the radio, if we take a digital multimeter, we'll find out there is no accessory wire that turns on and off with the key, correct, Fernando?
Correct.
We need that smart harness in order to generate the accessory power to turn on the radio with the key. Now, depending on how much information you need it to do, for example, if you're going to add a backup camera or something with CarPlay or steering wheel controls, you will need a more advanced version. The LCs are base model. They have one feature and that's it, accessory. If you need illumination or steering wheel controls, you're going to jump up to an RP4 or an RP5 or an iData or something like that that has those features built into it. For us though, we know what we need. We are going to have to figure out what kind of adapters we're going to need because we know that these speakers aren't just going to magically pop into these holes in the door. Let's get the door panels off and the rear panels off and figure that out. Fernando's going to start over here with the driver's side front. I'm going to start over there with the passenger side rear, and we'll meet in the middle. Let's take a look at the factory speakers that we just took out, these two guys here. This is the front door speaker, and because there is a mesh over it, you really can't see. There is no surround left on this speaker at all. I'm putting my finger inside of it. This thing is totally dead. There's nothing left of it. This is the rear speaker. This one doesn't get any water or moisture on it. That's probably why it's lived as long as it has. As you can see, this one has definitely taken a lot more abuse than this one. There's rust on the basket. That would be why this speaker still works. Both of them install the same way. This one has a clip in the back, it snaps in the front. This has two clips in the bottom, snaps at the top. The kickers we're gonna use to replace it is this guy right here. You have a nice silk soft dome tweeter, a butyl rubber surround. The nice thing about kicker, especially in the KS line, is it's a shallow factory fit speaker, but with a premium sound. It's amazing the sound, specifically the mid bass that they get out of a speaker that is this shallow. They do a really good job. And it's about the same depth as the factory, maybe a little bit shorter, so we don't have to worry about it hitting any of the windows or anything like that. We will need a bracket in order to fit it in place. Fernando has already gone and grabbed it. It is the BKGM SB345. This is a universal bracket depending on which GM you have. If you notice, there's two tabs here and a clip, and then two tabs here and a clip up here. We want to compare it to our factory speaker. Our factory has a big clip just like this. That means we're going to be using this and these and not these clips here. Before we go and remove those, we want to just make sure our speaker fits into the hole because it is a specific size, and if you're doing an oversized 6.5, it may not fit in. Line it up. There's something behind them to screw them into. We have no issues there. Next, break off the tabs we're not going to be using, which is this side here. They also give you these 3 screw locations. If this doesn't pull nice and tight, or if the speaker you're using is heavy, you can screw it into the door as well to get a much nicer mount. We like to do that. We also need to put foam across the back here and across the front so that we get a nice sealed gasket onto the door. For the rear, it's a 4x6. They don't make a bracket in order to fit these in, so we're going to take it over to the door and see if it fits okay or if there's something we have to fabricate. Sometimes the problem is that this piece here doesn't fit into the hole. That means we need to see if ours is going to fit okay or if there's trimming or a bracket we need to make. So naturally it doesn't fit right. The basket is a little bit too big. They don't make a cool mount like they do for the front. Fortunately, we've already made a template for these in the past. out of the laser. I just went ahead and lasered off too. Let me show you how this works. Speaker will go into place here. It'll pop back into place. Now it sits nice and flush. That 1/8 inch is all we need. We have 4 screw holes. We can just screw it into place. Before we do that, of course, we will put some foam on it and, you know, wire it up. I mean, that's kind of important. Mounted in place, all nice and level, very rigid in the door. For a 4x6, you couldn't find a nicer mount. With all the speakers back in the car, we want to run a second tone check to make sure that it isn't something other than just bad speakers. I mean, let's be honest, those speakers are pretty bad, but there could be a bad wire somewhere between, let's say, the radio and the speaker. This would be the easiest way to test for that. So that's the driver's door. Passenger front, passenger rear, driver's rear. All right, all the speakers make noise. That's a positive thing. That means we have no breaks in the wire or anything like that. We can move on to getting the radio in the dash and getting this on out to the customer. One other thing we had talked about, the USB and drilling a hole. This is where that is going to be. We're going to pop this out, drill our hole here, and our USB will be located in that spot or this spot here. One of these. You like that one?
Yeah, that's right.
Fernando says it's going to be in this one here. Dash kits are always a fun thing to do. If you like models, well, you're gonna like dash kits, because dash kits, well, they're like models. They have a lot of pieces and a lot of parts. Unlike models though, some of these parts just have to go. And on this kit, these 4 little screw holes on the outside are the first thing to get cut off. How we know that is 2 things. 1, we've done hundreds of these. And 2, if you go into the instruction manual here and pick the vehicle that you're doing, it will tell you which parts you need to remove. To remove these parts, I like to use a flush cutter. If you don't remove the parts that they recommend you move, what may happen is when you go to put the dash panel back on, it may not sit properly. And in the case of this, these would get in the way of the dash properly snapping in. On the sides here, we have a back piece here, 2 far sides here, this funky thing at an angle right here, and then this 1 screw provision right there. When we took the dash out, we only took 1 screw out, and it was close to the front of the radio. If we turn to the appropriate page that has the instructions, it'll tell us to remove all those oddball pieces and just leave the 1 little piece remaining. To remove those, I like to use some duckbill pliers. Simply grab, give it a slight bend, and they'll pop right off. Repeat the process on the other side. This kit, I do like the way it snaps together. It has an audible click. Line it up, snaps in there, line it up, and snaps in there. This kit is built like a tank. This is one of the nicest kits as far as snapping goes. This goes 2 screws towards the driver's side, 1 screw towards the passenger side. Slide it into place. Screw it in using a regular screwdriver. I can't stress this enough. There's no reason to use a drill putting this in. You'll over tighten it. It's just not good. But this is it. This is done. This guy's all set and ready to go into the dash. Looking at the smart harness, you have a red wire that comes off. This is going to be the accessory wire. This accessory wire, according to these instructions, has a 10 amp output. That is important anytime you're doing any form of smart module, is to check that red wire output. Some of these have 2 amps, 3 amps, which isn't enough to do anything other than turn on the radio. You'd have to add a relay to this in order to add a backup camera or turn on anything else that requires accessory. In this case, we're only doing a radio and it's 10 amps, which is more than enough for what we're doing, so we're good there. Coming into the smart harness is a pink wire. That's the data wire. Coming also into it is the black ground and the yellow constant 12 volts. This one is a base model. It doesn't do anything other than create this one thing. Also on the plug we have our 4 speaker wires. We were testing those speaker wires and I had said if you already have a factory harness, we could have easily plugged this in and used this to tone those speakers. If you do that, just make sure that your yellow constant 12 volts is taped off and secure, because if it touches the black ground, bad things will happen and you don't want that. As far as the other wire colors go, they are listed right here, and most of these smart harnesses are going to have a diagram as far as what each color is for. For those of you that aren't into the cool reading thing, it's pretty simple. You have 4 sets of speaker wires, a solid and a stripe. Stripe is negative, solid is positive. White is drivers, gray is passengers, green is driver's rear, purple is passenger rear. Orange wires are going to be for illumination. Blue wire, solid, is going to be for power antenna. Blue wire with a stripe is going to be for a power antenna or an amplifier turn on. In this case, We have all of those except for the blue with a white stripe. If you're curious as far as what wires are which and whether you need to hook them up, the best way to do that is to plug this into the vehicle and see if there's something on the other side. If there is, more than likely it is going to need to be hooked up. We have a Pioneer that uses standard wire colorings, meaning they match these wires. Connect the two together, color for color, and you'll be all set and ready to go. The harness all together, USB mounted in place. The Bluetooth mic is up by the mirror. It's time to plug everything in and take a listen to it. Plug into a GM. One of the other features that's provided by all the modules is the door, headlight, seatbelt chime. That ding, 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 ding. It's not gonna be in the speakers anymore. It's gonna move to the module. There it is. Some of the modules give the ability to turn it up or turn it down. Some of them, depending on the manufacturer, some of them actually do a really good job. They have like an outboard speaker that mounts up underneath the dash and sounds really a lot like the factory. I know, right? There's lots of different things you can get as far as that goes. When plugging into the back of your radio, start with the longest wires first and move in towards the shortest. In this case, the shortest is that antenna. Even with the 6-inch extension on it, it is still pretty short. Putting a radio in the dash, you kind of have to like do this like pull up and tuck and push, and that's why our wiring harnesses are so tight, so we can minimize the amount of bulk that is behind the radio. Replace the 3 screws holding it. Once we get those in, we're not going to put the trim bezel on yet. What we need to do is a polarity test. Because we replace speakers in this car, we need to make sure that we got all 4 of them correct. Nothing sucks worse than getting one wrong. For those of you that don't know what a polarity test is, a polarity test is a device that has a microphone on the tip of it. We're going to play a pop, and what that pop is going to do is move the speaker in one direction. We want to measure that and physically see it. If one speaker is moving backwards to all the other speakers, then we could have a serious issue. We'll get diminished bass and things just won't sound right. Sometimes it causes wooziness because, you know, it's like, oh, something's weird.
Green.
So it's gonna go green, green, red, and then it's telling us positive, positive, negative. Lucky for us, we got them all right. The last thing we want to do before we put the dash on is make sure that the microphone is working and that it's coming out of the speakers. This is also a really nice test to do. You don't want to deliver a vehicle and then do some Bluetooth phone calls and they can't hear people talk. CarPlay and Android Auto make this easy because you can just do a simple request for the weather. What's the weather like today?
It's currently clear and 82 degrees.
You've done it right, and you can move on to getting the dash back on and delivering the car. Or if it's your car, continuing to have a great day and enjoy the joyous sound that you just put in it. But we're gonna deliver the car. And at that, there's really not much more for us to talk about here. Fernando, was it fun?
It is fun.
It is fun. But we have to go, so end the show.
On to the next one, guys.
Thank you so much as always. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll see you later next time.
Bye.
Bye.